Everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. And today, well, I can't really say welcome back to the channel because we moved to a whole new channel, at least for the power rankings for the EBL. Moving forward, they are going to be posted on the Elite Battle League channel, which is the channel you're currently on right now. So of course, if you haven't already, drop a subscribe on the channel and follow every single one of the coaches. Their links are going to be in the descriptions below, as well as my wonderful co-host, Mr. Offline himself. Say hello, sir.
Yo, what's popping on YouTube? This is your boy Offline Nuzlocke, and we are here to do some power rankings for 12 coaches who have drafted for this season. So hopefully guys are excited to see the team's breakdown.
Awesome. So let's see, are there any quick things that we need to go over? No, I don't think so. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Well, actually there is one little thing. So we're doing a preseason rankings based basically purely on the teams themselves and how they are, how they look, and how well the coaches drafted. This will not have an impact on previous seasons, and of course we have a couple of newcomers. We have a couple of more teams than the last season did. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be starting from the bottom up. That being said, number 12, we have the Texas Tyranitars, who is coached by the Doorman. And go ahead and take it away, Offline. Let's see who they drafted.
Alright, so the Texas Tyranitars picked up Sandaconda, Tyranitar, Stakataka, Dracowish, Escavalier, Lycanroc Dayform, Seismitoad, Reuniclus, and Heliolisk.
Awesome. So right off the bat, I can see what they're trying to go for here. It's a good team. So based off what I'm seeing here, they have pretty good offensive Pokemon with Dracovish, Reuniclus. It looks like they're going to go. It's possible that they might go for a Trick Room setup or a Sandstorm team. So this might be the meta that they're rolling with. What else do you have to say, sir?
So I do see that good offense with Dracowish and Reuniclus, but I also see a little bit of bulk on his team. But there's one thing missing from Texas Tyranitars teams, which is it is an extremely weak team to water and grass types, because I see a lot of ground types, rock types, and you know, even some water types on the team that don't really like grass types or even water types in that regards. I would have liked to see Texas Tyranitars draft something else that could, you know, deal with those two types besides Escavalier. I think they're missing one important piece from their team that makes their team take the bottom seat for this season.
Okay, yeah, those are fairly good points. Looking over the teams, because I do have them pulled up here. Yeah, when you mention it, they do seem to have an extreme weakness to water and grass types, and you do bring up a fair point in a Escavalier. Even with a Trick Room, one Pokemon to handle, you know, grass types, which seems to be the more prevalent weakness. Maybe not so much to Dracovish, but still, it's still a prominent weakness to the rest of the team. One Pokemon wouldn't be able to handle all of that. So it's an extreme weakness that they have, and that's why they're placed on the bottom here.
And I would like to add one more thing, guys. We are looking at 12 teams, and this was not a tier draft, so anyone could pick anything, and there were only few rules. So based on all the teams, we had to decide which teams take the bottom, and this is the team that stood out to have an extreme weakness on their defensive core for those two prominent typings that are very, very prominent in draft league teams.
Not only that, I do also want to add one more thing, that between Offline and I, we've actually had quite a bit of a hard time trying to decide what place each team should go, because it seems like each season the EBL just gets better and better. Whereas, you know, we had season 1, we had a good team. We had coaches draft good teams. Season 2 was an even better. Everybody had upgraded teams, and it was hard to place them. It was also the inaugural season for the power rankings. And then this season, we have newcomers draft incredible Pokemon to their teams, and that made the decision to place each team that much harder. It's to the point where we had to revisit every position.
Yes, we did. Just breaking the fourth wall, we did spend a couple of hours just trying to get everything into place to make this as fair as possible for all the coaches. So we did not think about any strategies or anything. We just solely based our look on the teams and how they played out with just the team, looking at the team. And yeah, that was about it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, unless there's anything else that we want to add for the Tyranitars, is there?
Nope, we can go ahead and move on to the next team.
Alrighty, so moving on to the next team, we have the Atlanta Braviaries, coached by Stone Family 64, aka Matty Ice, who is also the commissioner of the Elite Battle League. So first things first, before we jump into the reason why we ranked him here on this spot, huge shout out to Mr. Matty Ice for coming up with the Elite Battle League. Thank you much for all of this. This has been an incredible ride. With the league has been incredibly fun. I know we say that all the time, but still, just wanted to give that little shout out to you. Now, the reason there's some good Pokemon here on this team. This is not a bad team. I think it's actually somewhat of a upgrade. We've seen the return of some Pokemon, as well as some Pokemon from other teams as well, make it into Matt's draft picks, and let's see how he works with it. He has strong offensive cores with Kartana, Weavile, who was your playoff MVP for season 1, and I think for season 2. No, not season 2. I'm sorry, something else. But still, season 1. Weavile, extremely offensive, extremely fast, can't take a hit to save its life, but still, Alakazam, same thing, can hit, it can move. So strong offensive cores. However, there are a couple of things that sets this team back, and offline, if you can go ahead and cover those points, sir.
Yeah, so basically this team is very offensive, as you mentioned, Guanako, but this team lacks the bulk to back up that offensive core. We are seeing major weakness to Dark and Fire, taking a look at some things like Dragapult, Alakazam, and even Starmie. Those things are majorly weak to Dark types, and then we see a Fire weakness in Klefki, Kartana, Glalie, even Weavile, and those things are okay, but we don't see a really defensive Pokemon backing those weakness. Hence the reason Atlanta Braviaries are seated at number 11 for the power rankings.
I do want to point out one thing as well. It seems there seems to be a trend as well when it comes to Pokemon being used by other team members compared to what they've had on previous teams. For example, we've had Dialga for season 1, who was drafted by Stone Family 64, and we've also seen the Kentucky Kinglers draft the Dialga for season 2. And no offense to Matt, but the Dialga for season 2 was put to much better use and was much more of a threat than season 1. So I personally am interested in seeing how he is he's going to be using the Dragapult, because for season 1 I drafted a Dragapult and it didn't do too much for me. In the long run, it was just mainly there to just take a hit, make a U-turn and then bounce off. It didn't do much. So I remember that's one of the picks that I regretted drafting for season 1. But I'm interested in seeing how he's utilizing a Dragapult. I'm interested in seeing how he would utilize the Weavile, but I'm interested in seeing how he would also use the Arcanine. Arcanine, when I see an Arcanine, I do get intimidated by it. PTSD going back to week 3, I think it was, for season 2. Shouts out to Jack. But yeah, so that's all I wanted to add on Matt's side. And there you have the points as to why he's on this spot on the power rankings. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, I did want to mention that Arcanine does get Flash Fire as its ability, but again, the same occurrence happens in this team, that there's only one Pokemon to back up that weakness, and letting one Pokemon take that reliance does not help the team much because it puts too much pressure on that one Pokemon, and the coaches have to play under that pressure. So I would like to see how Matt shows off his team capabilities this season.
For sure, for sure. In any case, however, Matt drafted. I feel he drafted really well, and like you said, it's a strong offensive core that he has with the big three, as I'm going to call them, on this team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, if there's nothing else for the number 11 spot, we are going to move on to the number 10 spot, which is the Redwood Meowths, coached by Acerey. Hope Siri didn't activate. No? Okay, great. Sometimes whenever I say the actual full name, Siri on my Mac decides to activate, and the same thing on my phone. So we're just going to go ahead and stick and call him Ace, as we all do. So the Redwood Meowths are coached by Ace. So bit of a little background information. Ace was in season 2 in the beginning. Unfortunately, some unfortunate things happened and he had to drop out. It seems as if those issues have been resolved, and now we're gonna get to see what Ace can really do in battle. And I know what he can do in battle because I've battled him myself. I know him to be a great battler, and I can't wait for everybody else to see what he can do. Mr. Offline, if you can go ahead and tell us what he drafted, please.
Okay, so Acerey has Toxtricity, Dragonite, Lapras, Stonejourner, Gardevoir, Groudon, Amoonguss, Talonflame, and Dracozolt, where Toxtricity and Lapras have the capabilities to Gigantamax.
There we go. So he has Gigantamax options there. So that's a good pick on him. The thing, obviously, that stands out because it's my mascot. The thing that stands out to me is that he drafted a Dragonite, which is no slouch in battle, mind you, especially if you have it trained with the right ways, with the right abilities, and the right movesets. He can be special or physical, depending on how you want to run him. So obviously the Dragonite stands out to me. The Groudon and the Dracozolt are great picks. Altogether, they make a good offensive core for the team. Of course, so far with every team, we have some weak points that Offline is going to go ahead and cover. Go ahead, sir.
So the weak points that we see for this team are ice types and rock types. Now we see a trend with his team that he has a really good offensive and a defensive core, but what he fails to consider is Dragonite is weak to rock types, as well as the Talonflame and the Lapras, but it is countered by some of the other types like Amoonguss, and that is weak to ice type. So he's gonna have to play around a lot of team composition as he faces off different opponents. But what happens in this scenario as well is there are few Pokemon on his team that are pressured way too much because they are stopped by these two typings, and that is where this team backs up a little bit.
Those are excellent points that you brought up there. So it'll definitely be interesting how Ace manages to play around with his team, given the weaknesses that he might have. You might be surprised. One thing that I learned from season 2, don't sleep on anybody, don't underestimate anybody, and I know for a fact Ace is not one to be slept on. That being said, if there's nothing else from the Redwood Meowths, are we good to go to the next one?
Yes.
Awesome. So moving on to the number 9 spot, we have the Akron Axews, who is coached by Isomorphic, or ISO, however you'd like to call him. And he is one of our new competitors in the Elite Battle League this season. And let's go ahead and start off with who he drafted, sir.
So here, ISO drafted Urshifu Rapid Strike form, which has the capability to Gigantamax. We have a Galvantula, Clefable, Umbreon, Haxorus, Gastrodon, Blacephalon, Hippowdon, and a Crobat on that team.
There you go. There you go. So, like most of the other teams here, he has good offensive power with the Urshifu, with the Crobats, and the Blacephalon. Although the Blacephalon himself, can't take a hit to save its life either. But still, he has a good bulky core with the Hippo, with the Gastrodon and Umbreon, depending on how you want to use it. Umbreon also gets a certain move. So let's see if he's able to utilize that. the Galvantula to me spells entry hazards. That's what I see coming. But hey, let's see if he's able to use his team to his benefits. Of course, like every team, like everything in life, everything has a weakness. Offline, go ahead and take it away, sir.
All right, so the major weakness for this team that spots out to me is the defensive core has a major weakness to grass and even water/ice types. Most of the water types carry in ice type moves, and also there are very good offensive grass types that this team struggles against. Not even the defensive core, the offense also struggles a little bit against water/grass types. So I want to see how this team takes care of that weakness and tries and cover that.
Not only that, it's a good thing that you mentioned that water types, are obviously we all know that water types are prevalent typing within the game and that they carry ice type moves. One thing that I do want to point out in regards to the weaknesses is even if someone doesn't come at him with a water type move and they just bring a pure ice type as well. Ice types is one of the best offensive typings in the game. Extremely offensive, horrible when it comes to defense, but extremely offensive when it comes to that. So let's see how he's able to play with some of the other draft picks that he's going to have to face this season.
Mm-hmm.
So if that is it for the Axews, anything you'd like to add?
I think we covered most of it.
All right, perfect. So if there's nothing else for the Akron Axews, next up on the spot, we have number 8, the San Diego Sylveons, who is coached by Tara, aka the wife of the commissioner, aka EeveeGirl, and that's her gamer tag. We're gonna roll with that. And these are some of the picks that she drafted. Go ahead, take it away.
So on Tara's team, or EeveeGirl's team, we have G-Max Corviknight, which is the only Pokemon that has the Gigantamax capability. But then we have a Sylveon, a Leafeon, a Goodra, a Zoroark, a Chandelier, a Galarian Rapidash, Steelix, and most prominent, a Kyogre.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. Okay. Obviously, the thing that stands out with this team is that extreme offensive threat and bulkiness too, if you want to roll with it that way. But that extreme offensive threat with the Kyogre, the Drizzle ability, and it's super high special attack stat is just gonna make it so not anything wants to switch into a water spout or anything like that coming from a Kyogre. From what I'm seeing here, some of the greatest offensive tools in her arsenal include the Kyogre itself, the Chandelure, fast, hits hard. We got Sylveon, who can hit hard, it can dish things out, and take some hits too at the same time, depending on how you raise it. So these are some of the things that stand out to me when it comes to this team. It has a great offensive core with those three. Of course, offline, go ahead and take it away for the rest.
And I know there are these offensive threats for the team, but I see a major breakdown for this team because I see opposite abilities or opposite potential for the team that breaks away the synergy that most teams have. Because I see that Drizzle can actually nerf Chandelure, which is a really big special attacker. But Drizzle will be nerfing Chandelure's any type fire moves, and also the capability of Steelix performing in rain. And the other Pokemon that stands out to me that would be a little bit nerfed by Drizzle would be Leafeon. So for this team, I don't see a synergy that we have been seeing with most of the teams up till now.
That is an interesting point that you brought up, because it does make a lot of sense now looking at her draft picks. It doesn't seem that there is much synergy going on. You brought up a good point with the Kyogre blocking out the sun for a possible recovery move for Leafeon. How is Steelix going to operate well under the rain, when it itself is weak to that. It's Chandelure itself, like you said, it's going to hinder it a lot. So I want to see how Tara is able to, overcome all of these obstacles that her team has within itself. But knowing how she battles and whatnot, I have no doubts that if anyone can pull off something like this, it's she. She's done really well in the past, regardless. That being said, the lack of synergy is what it landed her on this spot. However, what saves her is the offensive core that she has. Again, that Kyogre is the one thing that stands out to me the most. I don't know about you offline, but that's what stands out to me.
No. Kyogre is one of the Pokemon that stands out to me, but Chandelure is the other Pokemon that has been staring in my soul, because Trick Room with Chandelure, that thing is a monster. So
yeah,
there are many things that she can do with her offensive core, but I'm excited to see how this coach performs in this season.
For sure, absolutely. That being said, I believe we are good and to go for the Sylveons. Up next, we have the number 7 spot, the Iowa Incineroar, coached by Infernomen, aka Landon, however you'd like to refer to him, of course. If you're new to the EBL, we all call him Landon. And these are his current draft picks, which I must say, it's pretty good. You know, this is one of the teams that we had difficulty placing, because I feel that it's an upgrade compared to what Landon had just drafted for season 2. So I can't wait to see Landon put this team to use. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what he drafted.
All right, so Landon, aka the Shiny King of EBL, drafted. Obviously, his team is going to be all shiny, so I'm not going to repeat the word shiny, but he's going to have Tapu Koko, Celesteela, an Infernomen mascot, which is the Incineroar, Slowking, Tyrantrum, a Vanillix, Tangrowth, Noivern, and a Hitmontop. Now, right away for his team, I see a great threat in Tapu Koko, and I see Tyrantrum breaking a lot of potential.
No, of course, I agree. Coco is going to be an extreme threat. Its moveset, its typing, obviously, you know, it being fairy, it has 2 prominent weaknesses, as well as it being electric as another weakness onto that. But it's still a very good Pokemon, extremely fast, and if I'm not mistaken, this one Pokemon could definitely outspeed everything under the sun, my team included. So that's a good offensive Pokemon right there. Tyrantrum, as Offline has mentioned, has the capability of breaking walls. It has good synergy on the offensive points. I'm gonna tell you, I don't know why there's a Noivern on here. I'm not. It's not because I don't know. This is just me wondering. I want to see what Landon pulls off with the Noivern. He's definitely been able to prove us wrong when he drafted Vanillix. I know we all made fun of him for it, but listen. Personally speaking, from me training with Landon last season, the Vanillix put in work. Vanillix was an intimidating force to be reckoned with. I'm not sleeping on Vanillix again. So even though the Noivern stands out to me from the team and in a sort of questioning sort of way, like why, I still want to see what he has in store, because I've learned not to underestimate Landon. Sorry, Stone. You know, if you know, you know. But some of the weaknesses aside, you know, from again the Noivern, he include, of course, fairy moves, ice moves, and I'm a little afraid if Landon relies on Coco, then we're adding 2 more weaknesses on there, because I don't know. It's a good pick. I feel it's possible that he might become a little reliant on Coco. Of course, this is just, you know, speculation. It could very well be that he doesn't use Coco as much as we would think. But still, that's my view on it. Anything that you'd like to bring up?
Yeah, so as we see, this team has a weakness to ice types and fairy types, but thinking about the synergy that this team provides, the defensive core for this team has a little bit better synergy so far than we have seen for the teams so far that we have looked over. And I think Landon has a lot of options on his team, so I think it will be exciting to see how he uses his team to its full potential.
For sure, of course. No, and like I said, this is one of the teams where we had difficulty ranking because of how well he has it. I'm interested in seeing how he utilizes the Hitmontop. We know Tangrowth can take hits, and that Slowking stands out to me too, as well as obviously Tapu Koko. So that's all I have to say on the Incineroar. Anything you'd like to add before we move on?
I think we covered pretty much everything.
All right. So moving on to the number 6 spot, we have the Tijuana Gengars, who is coached by the legendary Latin Luigi himself. And of course, he's also one of our newer competitors on the team. And let's go ahead and take a look at what he drafted.
Alright, so Luigi drafted Xerneas, Gigantamax Gengar, Swampert, Komodo, Volcarona, Mandibuzz, 2 Indeedys in 1, a Rotom, which is the grass form, and a Lucario.
So, right off the bat, the thing that stands off to me the most, of course, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Latin sniped one of my picks, and it is in that Volcarona. That Volcarona stands out to me, as well as the Gengar. Those are very great picks for him. That Volcarona can do some work. It wasn't utilized to its best ability in Season 1. Sorry, Matt. But I'm interested in seeing how he's able to work it. I know I've used it in competitive myself. It is very fun to work with. A lot of coverage, too, if you think about it. So the Volcarona is there. Xerneas is another good balanced offensive threat, whether he wants to run it special or physical, however he'd like to do it. And then the Gengar, of course, we can't go ahead and omit the Gengar. The Gengar can hit, it's fast, it's great. I think it has good typing, and it's extremely versatile too. Of course, let's go ahead and cover the weak points in the team. Take it away, sir.
Alright, so the biggest weakness I see for this team is it's relying defensively on 2 or 3 pieces of the team overall. It's missing that defensive synergy that a lot of teams have in competitive draft leagues. Obviously, we have really bulky Pokemon like Mandibuzz and Swampert, but I'm not seeing that synergy that is usually shared within the defensive cores of this team. And the other thing that stands out to me is that Lucario. I am so surprised that Lucario is being drafted because we haven't seen Lucario being used in draft leagues as much as we have used in the past. So I am actually surprised to see that get drafted. I'm surprised to see how he's gonna utilize that Pokemon.
Yeah, the Lucario definitely does stand out. I'm curious to see how he utilizes the Lucario. It's fairly good offensively. You can run it any which way without having much of a difference impacting on it. But still, definitely interested to see how he works with the Lucario. It's typing. It's a good typing. It's a good typing, but it gives it some certain resistances and whatnot. But still, let's see how he works with the Lucario. Now that's all, of course, that I have to say on the Gengars. Anything else before we move on to the 5 that are left?
One thing I would like to add is we have been highlighting this a little bit, but drafting 2 Pokemon in one pick is a really big deal because it gives him a lot of option to run however versatile he wants to.
Yeah, I forgot to bring that part out. Of course, if you guys at this point have some background in competitive or whatnot, or just battling period, doesn't even have to be competitive, which Pokemon we're talking about. So that's a very good point to bring up, Offline. Very, very good point. Those abilities, every this team in general, it's very good. Again, that Volcaronus just stands out to me a lot. Partly because it was sniped. Thank you, Latin. But anything else that we had before we move on?
I think we have covered the bases.
All right, guys. So we're moving into the top 5 teams of the league, and we're gonna start with number 5 position, of course, with the Kentucky Kinglers, who is led by Derek. Always more videos, who was the runner-up of season 2, and this dude from season 1, I remember the very first conversation from, oh wait, we're supposed to train our teams? Oh crap, I'm just gonna get out. Oh no, we want you. Oh no. Then he starts training his teams, and he starts absolutely kicking everybody's butt in season 1. You know, in season 1 he did fairly well. Season 2 starts kicking everybody's butt, and even made it to the championship against yours truly. And that was a battle for the ages, man. This man knows what he's doing. He's come to learn a lot. I've had the extreme pleasure in seeing him grow as a battler. And I can't wait to see what Derek has in store for the rest of us with this team. Obviously, as we've all been saying it from the drafts till now, he has a rain meta. I think one of the best metas that you can have. Of course, it doesn't have it's not without its weaknesses, but it definitely has its advantages. So of course, let's go ahead and take a look at who he drafted. Go ahead and take it away, sir.
Alright, so Derek drafted Palkia, Keldeo, Pelipper, Barraskewda, Kingdra, Ludicolo, Omastar, Politoed, and obviously that water-type Cinderace.
The water-type Cinderace. I like that. Of course, so heavy team. Obviously, like I said, we know what he's working with. So it's obviously a rain meta. The Barraskewda stands out because that was stolen from me. But I know exactly what a Barraskewda can do, so that stands out to me as one of the offensive threats. We got Kingdra as well, who's fairly balanced, depending on how you want to run it, and has unique typing with Water and Dragon, which up until Generation 6 only had one weakness. So that was a very good pick for this team. Of course, Cinderace himself. I want to see how he rolls with the Cinderace, because I think it's the only fire type in this entire team. Am I wrong? Yeah, it's the only fire type in the team, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's the only non-water type. That's why I said it was the water type Cinderace.
Okay. So yeah, so it is the only non-water type on the team. So I'm curious to see how he rolls with the Cinderace and how he uses it. Let's see if Libero is able to, make a huge difference the way it did for the other 2 coaches who used it in the past, him included. But yeah, so that's really it that I have to say. The Cinderace, the Barraskewda, the Kingdra, the Ludicolo itself. I hate Ludicolo. Shouts out to Crowbats for killing Ace season 1. PTSD. Anyways, as a good offensive core with those 4 Pokemon. Of course, let's go ahead and talk about the weaknesses. Take it away.
Alright, so a weakness that this team has is, believe it or not, an ice weakness. There is an ice weakness for this team because Freeze Dry exists because this is Generation 8, and that move can blow away a lot of the Pokemon on this team. The other weaknesses we can see is a grass type weakness and an electric type weakness, because this is obviously a mono water team, and under rain they will perform better, but there's obviously those weaknesses which keeps this team from holding the top spot in this league. And there's obviously also a little bit of a fairy weakness because there are a few Pokemon that do not like fairy types.
Absolutely right. Still, great team. This is also one of the teams that we had great difficulty, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've actually moved them 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
Because his team is just too good to pick. But that's all I have to say on the Kentucky Kinglers. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the number 4 spot?
Yes, I did want to add one thing. If I were to draft a team, I would be perfectly fine with drafting a team like that. But one thing I would like to have Derek picked up is a ground and water type like Seismitoad or Gastrodon, because that would have provided him with an electric type immunity, which would be great for a mono water team like these. But
that is
but
absolutely
yeah,
true.
but yeah, I am excited to see how Derek rolls forward into this season.
If I'm not mistaken, now that you mentioned that, I think if my memory serves me, I think he mentioned that he got sniped with one of the picks with someone for good water ground types. So I don't know if maybe his hand was forced in the decision making process with the current team that he has. So it's a good point that you bring up, but still the Ludicolo could answer, because it could answer some of that electric threat.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it learns any ground moves off the top of my head. I personally don't like Ludicolo like that to use it, but the fact that it's water grass, even though it's not going to be not very effective, it is neutral, so it'll still survive a good electric attack and whatnot. That still presents the problem with freeze dry, which will be quite super effective against the Ludicolo, because grass. But that being said, that's all I have to say on the Kinglers. Great team, great pick. Are we good to move on?
Yes.
All right, awesome, perfect. So moving on to the number 4 spot, we have, this is gonna come to a surprise for a lot of people. Again, sorry, Matt. We have the Detroit Luxrays up in the number 4th spot, who is coached by Gamer Views, aka Max, as we all call him. And let's go ahead and start off with his draft picks. Take it away.
Alright, starting off strong with Galarian Moltres as the legendary, Salamence paired with Galarian Moltres, and Mimikyu Blaziken, Quagsire, Roserade Espeon, Shuckle, and Magnezone makes up the team for Detroit Luxrays.
There you go. So obviously, again, we're seeing returns of some Pokemon here. Some of them belonged to our runner-up for Season 2, Derek himself. Obviously, the Mimikyu stands, Salamence stands. We've seen him bring a Shuckle, which I drafted myself for 2 seasons in a row. So that's going to be great. We're seeing the Magnezone come back under new management as well. And then we're seeing the return of some Pokemon as like Blaziken come right back to its trainer. So very interested, obviously, with the Blaziken. He's probably gonna be running the same strategy with the Blaziken as he did last season. Who knows? All I know is that I see extreme potential with this team. I'm liking this team a lot. So many options that he has with the Blaziken, the Mimikyu, the Salamence, and again, you guys might bash me for it, but the Shuckle is a deal. It's a thing. It has good offensive synergy. And again, I can't stress that Shuckle enough. That stands out to me the most, actually. Aside from that, let's go ahead and take it away with some of the weaknesses.
Alright, so one of the major weaknesses for this team that holds it back from one of the top spots is that it's missing that defensive piece once again. We're seeing a lot of teams drafting a really offensive meta picks like Galarian Moltres, Salamence, and Blaziken, but they're missing their defensive core that backs up their offensive pressure. And one other thing that this team lacks is it has a major weakness to fairy or ice types and even steel types, which is very prominent on a lot of the draft teams that we are looking at today.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Still, I have no doubts that Max is going to do phenomenal this season. I'm rooting for the underdog. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I want Max to do well. Sorry, Matt. I know you have a thing saying no, Atlanta will never lose to Detroit. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Options. Having options is key when it comes to battle. And I'm not just talking Pokemon battles either, but I digress. Can't wait to see what Max, has up his sleeve with this great team. It's definitely an upgrade. It seems like every season Max is in, he upgrades his team. He had an upgrade from season 1 with season 2 team, and now he has an upgrade from the season 2 team with this team. So I can't wait to see what he rolls with. Is that it for the number 4 spot?
I think so.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and let Offline lead off with the number 3 spot. Go ahead and take it away, sir.
All right, up next on number 3, we have the Miami Dragonites, coached by Guanako Gaming. Obviously, I had to choose this team's spot because he can't influence me. It's not happening. But he drafted Zarude, Eternatus, Galarian, Darmanitan, Whimsicott, Gigantamax, Charizard, Excadrill, Gigantamax, Blastoise, Lycanroc, and the Beartick. Now, obviously, looking on paper, this team, every single Pokemon on this team is a great offensive option. There is so much synergy between the teams because all the offensive cores line up pretty nicely as you can, make a puzzle. But there is few glaring weaknesses for this team, which are fighting types and good fire types, because things like Darmanitan, Beartick, Excadrill, they don't like, and even Zarude, they don't like fighting types, and that is what holds up this team a little bit back. I think it is missing that one crucial defensive piece as most teams to make this hold the top spots for this season.
Okay, fairly good points that you've made there. I am gonna go ahead and say that almost every one of my picks were sniped. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I did know that.
It's to the point that during the draft league, Offline messages me. He's like, "Hey, bro, if you need some help, I'm right here." I'm like, "Help, HAALP, help." But I don't know. Yeah, I agree with some of the points that Offline has made with in regards to this team. I still think that I think that the weaknesses that he pointed out might be covered on the moveset coverage as well, with some of the Pokemon here. Eternatus, obviously, it's not a slouch at all. I mean, I know people that fear Eternatus itself. It's an extreme powerhouse, and depending on how you want to use it as well, it can be an extreme troll too. That gave me an idea for somebody. But this is I think that given the circumstances of the draft, I think that it's a great team. May not have the best synergy in the world, I think, but I'm always too hard on myself. Offline thinks that it has great synergy. I think it may not have the best synergy, but excuse me. We'll see if the Miami Dragonites is able to make it to the championship a third time, and let's see if they're able to win it. Personally speaking, with Stone, he mentioned that any team who makes it to the championship a third time is still great, because making it a third time, just making it, not winning it, but making it a third time to the championship in sports is a big deal in and of itself. So I'm okay with that. That being said, we just covered the number 3 spot on the Elite Battle League for Season 3 for the picks, or for the teams. Let's go ahead and take it away with the number 2 spot. I believe we're done with number 3, right?
Yep.
All right. So number 2, surprise, surprise to some people, it's going to be the Essex Espeons, which has a great name, by the way. The Essex Espeons is going to be coached by PokéPidge. So PokéPidge, definitely some things that stand out, who's also one of the people that sniped one of my picks. We have here some bulky Pokemon. We had, for the season 1 and season 2, we had the Great Wall of Everglade. Definitely have no problem in saying that we now have the Great Wall of Essex. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the Pokemon that he drafted. Take it away, sir.
All right, so Essex Espeon drafted Gigantamax Snorlax, Gigantamax Rillaboom, Gigantamax Orbeetle, Dialga, Toxapex, Mew, which is one of the most versatile Pokemon ever, Ninetales, which is the Cantonian Ninetales, Alolan Raichu, and Comfey itself.
Very good, very good defensive core, and also one of those teams where we had difficulty placing, who was also moved a couple times before we finally decided on this final spot. As we mentioned previously, the Great Wall of Essex. I would love to see how some aggressive players take out this wall. Some of the things that stand out to me, of course, let me just go right back to his team. This team here. The things that stand out, of course, the Dialga, the Rillaboom, who proved itself to be quite the Pokemon in Season 2. We've seen the return of Toxapex under new management, of course. We've seen the return of Snorlax. So great picks that he has, great picks. And can't wait to see how he utilizes some of these Pokemon. I can't wait to see how he uses the Rillaboom. I'm interested in that. Now, of course, I believe we still have to go over some of the weak points. Let's go ahead and take that away.
Yeah, before I do, glare upon the weaknesses for this team, I personally have a thing. Just try and break this defensive core, and I'll give you a cookie. Personally, not gonna lie. But anyways, there are some weaknesses that this team has, and it's because the Great Wall of Essex exists. We are lacking some of that offensive pressure a team provides, and that's because we are seeing Pokemon like Snorlax, Toxapex, and Orbeetle drafted, that there are not many Pokemon that cover that offensive pressure that most of the teams have drafted. But this is a really different team. It's mainly focusing on that defense aspect instead of that offense that we have been so far seeing. So I'm really excited to see how this team performs in the season.
Might be a lame comparison as well. I don't know if you guys are a fan of karates, or if you guys watch the show Cobra Kai, where it seems as the Essex Espeons tend to lean heavily on defense, just like the Miyagi-Dos. It seems that the most offensive team so far in the league, which I believe is the Atlanta Braviary, are like Cobra Kai, where they favor offense. I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. Sorry.
But yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So, yeah, as we mentioned, there is a little bit lack of offensive pressure, but don't sleep on the offense that the defense provides, because there are a lot of capabilities that this defensive Pokemon provide in offense as well. So I'm really excited to see how this team performs.
For sure. I can't wait to see it, and I'm gonna have a chance to fairly soon, from what I understand as well. If that is it for the Essex Espeons, we're good to move on to the number 1 spot. The number 1 spot. Are we good? All right. The number 1 spot is going to be the Indiana Igglybuffs, who is coached by Yeltnab, another newcomer, and one of the people who has helped Derek grow, I believe, if not one of the people, he is the person who has helped Derek grow as a battler. So very interesting. I want to see how he is able to play with this team. I think by far he has the best team in this league so far. Let's go ahead and take a look at the draft, his draft picks, before we go into further detail, of course. Take it away.
Alright, so the Igglybuffs have drafted G-Max Grimmsnarl, G-Max Urshifu, which is the single strike form, Primarina, Naganadel, Flygon, Rotom Wash, Hawlucha, Ferrothorn, and Scizor.
Very balanced team from what I'm able to see here. Let me just go right back to his team here. Yeah, very balanced team. It seems as if when we try to find a weakness in this team, it's covered by another Pokemon. So he did a great job in choosing the Pokemon. Obviously, the ones that stand out, the Scizor, which only has currently 1 weakness, the Naganadel, and his Urshifu, who can also G-Max as well. Those stand out to me. I want to see how he uses the Primarina, because the Primarina was drafted by the Kinglers last season. I want to see how we would definitely use the Primarina. It's one of the returning Pokemon. Flygon is also a returning Pokemon under new management. Of course, the only thing that we were able to find, and it's not even that big of a deal in my opinion, but because I think he did a pretty good job covering it, there's only a weak point here. Go ahead and tell us what that weak spot is.
All right, so the only thing that we found against this team is there's too many overlapping typings. As we see, there are 2 steel types, 2 fighting types, 2 dark types, 2 water types, and 2 dragon types on this team. But that's it. Like those are the only things. He has an overlapping type core with few of his Pokemon, but they both perform very differently in each scenario. So as we take a look at it, Urshifu and Halucha, they perform really differently, or even a Scizor or a Ferrothor, because one is offensive where the other is defensive. So I hope that overlapping of typings does not bite him in the end, but that was the only thing we found against this team.
Yeah, so just like Offline said, it's a very good, it's a very well picked out team. And again, this was one of the teams where at least me personally, I've had an issue with ranking because of how good it is. For me, it was a toss up between the Kinglers and this one, the Igglybuffs, and I think one more other team. I can't remember off the top of my head. And of course, after discussing it and looking further, because we had to review our picks for a great number of times, we ultimately decided that the Igglybuffs have the best team so far and the ones that has the best chance to winning the championship. Again, this is not to say that they are or anything. This is just the power rankings based off of who they've picked and whatnot. I think that everybody this season has a good chance of hitting the championship because everybody did draft really well. I'm loving the draft picks. I'm loving how everybody picked. And this is what we came up with for the rankings. Anything you'd like to add to the number 1 spot before we go over and recap?
Yes, so as I've already said before, this draft was based without tiers, so there were no tiers, so any coaches can pick up any Pokemon they like with only a few restraints. So every team had the best potential to draft the strongest team possible, and that's why we had a lot of difficulty ranking them, because there were so much offensive power, so much defense that we saw in teams, and it was just a hard time to rank them because all the teams were great. So as you mentioned, Guanako, I think every single team that we have seen today has a great potential to make it to playoffs and hopefully the championship.
Absolutely. Is that all you have to say for the first part?
Yes, I do.
All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and jump to our recap here. We're going to start off from the top, of course. Number 1 team so far that we see that we've determined is, of course, the Indiana Igglybuffs, coached by Yeltnab. Number 2 spot, we have the Essex Espeons, who was coached by PokéPidge. Number 3, the Miami Dragonites, who was coached by Guanako Gaming. Number 4, the Detroit Luxrays, who is coached by the Game Review. Excuse me, had a brain fart there. The number 5 spot is going to be the Kentucky Kinglers, who was coached by Derek Always More Videos. Number 6, the Tijuana Gengars, coached by Latin Luigi. Number 7, the Iowa Incineroar, coached by the Shiny King himself, Infernomen. Number 8, we have the San Diego Sylveons, coached by EeveeGirl. Number 9, we have the Akron Axews, coached by Isomorphic or ISO. Number 10, we have the Redwood Meowths, coached by Ace. Number 11, we have the Atlanta Braviary, coached by Stone Family 64, aka Matty Ice. And number 12, we have the Texas Tyranitars, coached by the Doorman. So again, if you guys are new to the Elite Battle League, We'll be going ahead and putting a list of the main rules in the description, as well as every single one of the coaches' links in the description as well. Of course, definitely go ahead and drop them a follow, subscribe, support them in every way you can. Pick your favorite team and see if they make it to the championship. And of course, stay tuned as the Elite Battle League kicks off on February 5th. That being said, do you have any closing remarks?
Guys, as a closing remark, make sure you support every single coach in the Elite Battle Leagues, because all of them are wonderful content creators, and just see their journey throughout this league. And make sure you support the team who is helping out construct this league as well from the background, because I know a lot of people are working in the background to make this league happen. So that's all I have to say.
For sure. And a reminder, of course, guys, that the power rankings and the weekly roundups are going to be housed in the Elite Battle League channel. Of course, if you guys are already watching this video, that means you found your way to the channel. Still, go ahead and drop a subscribe to the Elite Battle League's official YouTube channel. Follow the Twitter. That link is going to be in the description below as well. And that is all that I have to say. If there's nothing else, we hope to see you guys for the kickoff of the Elite Battle League.